Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Alpha Heavy Gamer. If you've been watching my videos, you may know by now that even though I dabble on the flavor of the month sometimes, I also enjoy playing non-meta and even unpopular vehicles at times. After all, it was a lot of work to unlock them, so I want to play them. With the unrelenting pace of game development, sometimes great vehicles get left behind and forgotten. One of those vehicles is the G91YS, in my humble opinion. The G91YS was an immediate hit and fan favorite with the 1.87 lock-on release in March 2019. If you love the G91 like I do, the G91YS was just more of a good thing. It had more power because of the afterburner, and it had two engines, giving it up to 60% more thrust over the baseline G91s. It also had enhanced firepower with 30mm autocannons versus the 50 cals. It was also a capable multi-role fighter, possessing a ballistic computer. The dilemma with the G91YS was it dominated so much it was eventually moved from 9.3 to 9.7 and then finally to 10.0, along with a lot of other jets like the J32B. I'm guessing it was hard to balance. Here's where the major problems all started and why the G91YS is generally considered not competitive today. At 10.0 and subsonic with just AM9Bs, it had a really hard time surviving against more capable jets at 10.3 and 10.7. F4 Phantoms and MiG-21s would generally eat the G91YS alive, and so it was abandoned en masse by the player base. The G91YS was eventually lowered back to 9.7 last year, but it really didn't help the situation. It was still outclassed by better jets throughout its BR bracket, and for its repair costs, which was somewhere around 20,000 SL at that time, playing the jet over something else couldn't be justified unless you just really loved the G91YS. Enter Red Skies. With this latest patch, Gaijin has finally introduced some long-awaited BR decompression. With the 11.0 BR established and lots of jets moved up, the G91YS now has some room to breathe, in my opinion. Not that much, but enough to make it worth playing again. I was able to have some good games against comparable opponents. I thought it was a fluke at first, but after playing multiple matches, the lineups were beginning to look pretty reliable. Now there's probably people that are going to disagree with this, but in my opinion, I think the YS is risen from the ashes, and it appears to be fun again. At least until the ecosystem gets upset again. 9.7, the Sidewinders, the AM9Bs, the lack of countermeasures, and the lack of an RWR, they don't seem to be that much of a detriment. The aircraft is very maneuverable. In the footage you can see how I was able to avoid getting smashed by a MiG-19. I was just trying to reverse him. But it seems to be a pretty good close-end dogfighter with good energy retention. You can still boom and zoom, but you got to remember that the YS is not supersonic, even with the afterburners, so people could just fly away from you, really. I'm far from an elite player, believe me, but in RRB, I think it might be safe again to take the YS out, at least until the next patch, right? So looking to the future and looking at what was just added for the Italian tree, the Sagittario 2 is an amazing little jet from what I've seen. So reason enough to dive over to Italy and start grinding towards that. You know, with the YS kind of being a prize as well. The F104S we all know is not that great, but I'm looking forward to what comes after. We've seen what the British Phantoms, the FGR2, especially because that's the one I have. We see what it can do now that it has a pulse Doppler radar. So, looking into the future for the Italian tree, the F104 ASA and ASA-M, I don't have any information from Gaijin, but I'm guessing that those jets can't be far off now. We already have the pulse Doppler. These more modern F104s will have that true look-down capability, look-down, shoot-down capability of the pulse Doppler. And I'll also pack additional missiles like the Selenia S-Speed, I probably mispronounced that, and the AM-9L, which are all aspect infrared missiles. And with the pulse Doppler radar, the Sparrow missiles that the F-104 packs will be even more lethal. The Italian tree's been overlooked for a while, but I think what I just listed about what's coming and with the addition of the Sagittario 2, I think it's compelling enough to give the tree a try again, and I think giving the YS another try is probably warranted at this point. So wrapping up here, thanks for checking out the video. Please drop a like and subscribe, it really helps the channel out. And I'll let the footage play out so you can check out the YS, and I'll see you in a future video.